It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Sproles, answer. Yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to another edition of the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker. Jason Walker is in Las Vegas. We'll touch base with him. And a special guest in the studio, the Rainmaker, the sad clown.
Why? You know, I take time away from my PS5 to spend it with you, and that's what you give me? That's how we're treating me today?
The deflator.
I will leave you. I will walk out right now.
The janitor.
You don't understand the pain I've been through in the last 5 Sundays.
All the many names.
So plus Monday.
Of Ajay Salveson.
You know, I'm almost to the thought that you're 9315.
I text myself on the show all the
time.
time.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
In real time. Don't want Jason to miss out on any of this fun that we're having here on the show. Jason Walker in Las Vegas, part of Mountain West Media Days. And he's been talking. He's actually been doing work. He's not just playing in Las Vegas.
Well, as far as we know.
Yeah. Let's see. Got to make sure Jason can hear us. Okay, you hear us now, Jason?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hey, don't worry, Jason. He's done the same thing to me.
I heard the intro going down, and then I was like, when is Eric going to start talking? And then it's just dead silence. And I was like, what? I'm just sitting here. Like, did I do something wrong?
Jason, the best part is like when he starts asking you a question, then he waits for you to answer, and you're like, all right, what's going on?
See, I left the studio for a second, and when I come back in, Ajay's here behind the board. And who knows what he's doing behind the board here.
Oh, yeah, we're blaming me for doing your job. Yeah, yes, that sounds about right.
That has to be the reason.
That sounds about right. Hey, are we on the air, by the way? Do we need to do roll call?
We're on the air.
Because I've learned with Jason, when he's behind the board, do roll call to make sure we're on the air. Yeah, I'll be like, we'll be talking for like 5 minutes, and Jason's like, I can't hear myself. Jason, are we on the air? I don't think we are.
We are on the air. I have full confidence.
Okay.
Yeah, Eric's more confident than I am about that.
Well, that's the problem.
Let's see. As we mentioned, big day today for Utah State and the Mountain West Conference, at least. Getting ready for basketball. Basketball season is right around the corner. Thank you, 5452, with the confirmation that we are on the air.
Appreciate you.
Basketball season will be here before we know it. And, Jason, you had a chance to visit with coaches and players down there in Las Vegas with the Mountain West. Before we get to some of the interviews that you had, just some of the observations of what you've seen in Las Vegas today.
Well, they have that giant sphere thing like in the middle of town. That was pretty weird. That was my first observation. Have you guys seen that?
I've seen it on social
Actually,
media.
I think my brother is on his way to see a concert in that sphere tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, can you go inside that thing?
Yeah, I think U2 is playing in residency there.
They're the first concert that's going to be there. They're the opening concert, I think.
Yeah, they're going to be there for a little while.
Yeah, I just really project images with it, and I was walking over to the parking garage, and all of a sudden there's this big old 400-foot emoji peeking around a building. It's a little funny, but
they're watching you.
As far as what, yeah, they're always watching. As far as what's going on here, I know there's not a ton of people here. Got to see some of the players, the coaches. Gloria Nevarez is here. I actually had a chance to sit down with her, have a little conversation about the state of the conference, and had a chance to ask a few questions about expansion. Because what else are you going to ask the commissioner at this point? But yeah, and then I had a chance to chat with said Coach Ard, a couple of players, a couple of the new players, since everybody's new. But yeah, it was I think good conversations with all of them. Right now, there's a lot of hope for the Aggies. They know full well what's happened with this program the last few years, but they're all hopeful, and I think that's kind of the main takeaway I had with chatting with all of them is just what they're trying to accomplish this year and improve the program.
Jason, when you look at the preseason poll for this, is there anything that surprised you a little bit that maybe you would have thought that was just because of the amount of players that some teams lost, the amount of players and transfers that some teams gained? What stood out to you in that poll?
I'll be honest, I haven't done as much of a deep dive into the other teams in the Mountain West. Mm-hmm. So really nothing really surprises me in the end. I know UNLV's been close to the top of the Mountain West for several years now. Wyoming is another team that's been pretty consistent there. And then Utah State being picked at the bottom, that wasn't really all that surprising either.
Yeah.
Pretty expected. They've been picked last, I think, 4 years in a row now. Finished last in 3 of those years, I think. So that was expected, and nothing else with the poll really surprised me all that much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's do this, Jason. You, as mentioned, you had a chance to visit with the coach, and it's fortuitous that we have Ajay in studio with us because Ajay is going to be, or will continue to be, the voice of the Utah State women's basketball program on local radio. And so good to get his perspective on the state of Utah State women's basketball. So Jason had a chance to catch up with head coach Kayla Ard earlier today in Las Vegas and to get a first real look at what Utah State women's basketball is going to look like this year.
So we've got Utah State women's basketball head coach Kayla Ard. Glad to have a chance to sit down with you, or I guess I'm standing here sitting. But I guess another season, it seems like it's the norm with a lot of teams, both men's and women's basketball teams. Utah State having to create almost completely new teams, going out recruiting, 10, 12 new players. Like, what's that kind of been like for you, just, building kind of yet another new team?
Exhausting. It's probably the first answer, but it's been exhausting, but it's been fun. I think over the last couple of years, I've gotten the opportunity to learn a lot. And what do we want? What do we not want? What works? What doesn't work? What fits? What doesn't fit? I think that Utah State is a very unique place, wonderful but unique place, and you have to get the right kind of people there on your coaching staff and on the team. And so we've had some good, we've had some that didn't fit, but I would say that this team that we have now and that we've built really fits Cache Valley, fits Utah State. And it fits me as a coach and the kind of players that I want. So it's been it was exhausting to sign that many players, and kudos to my staff over the summer. We didn't get much of a break, and it was a lot. But me and the players were actually talking about that on the flight up here about how the visits were. And one of them came. That's with us. Bridget came early. Cheyenne came late, and they were comparing their visits. And lucky for us, they said they sounded the same, so that's good that we can keep the energy going all the way through the summer. So it's been challenging, I think, but very particular. It's been very, very particular, and we've been very careful. And it's overall exhausting but fun, I think would probably be the way to sum that up.
So about players, trying to fit Utah State and fit you as a coach. Like, what kind of players have you been trying to find that fit your system?
Yeah, I think for me, one of my assistant coaches actually told me you got to get players that fit you, that understand your personality, and that not necessarily have the same personality, but get you and understand you and have the same mindset that you have with the chip on your shoulder. And one of our core values is toughness, and something that we talk about all the time is just not backing down. And so I needed to get players that had that same kind of mindset. And so we did that with this with this class that we brought in and these kids that are in. So and then just fitting Cache Valley and Utah State, like I said, it's just a unique place, and you can't try to make Logan something that it's not. You have to be outdoorsy. You have to enjoy the scenery. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful places in the country. And so if you can enjoy a place like that and appreciate the scenery there and how serene it is there, and then it's an amazing place. But if you get a person that's not really outdoorsy in Logan, or that's a big nightlife type of person, they're just not going to be very happy there, and that's okay. It's just that Utah State wouldn't be the right place for them. And so the kids that we have now, their pastime is going to shoot or going to the gym, which I love as a coach, and or going on a hike or going outside or going to the lake or something like that. So I think, and that's a mistake that I made early on at Utah State, was just bringing in kids that I didn't know the place well enough yet. And going into my 4th year now, I've really gotten to know Logan and appreciate it for what it is, and I've fallen in love with it, and the kids that we have here now have fallen in love with Cache Valley. And so I think that is a huge piece of them being happy off the court so that we can carry it over to being happy on the court and winning basketball games. And so that's what I meant by that, just getting people that fit Utah State in general.
So you've had a chance to work with some of these players over the summer, practices like officially starting a couple weeks ago. What have you learned about this team on the court, so far working with them?
They're workers, they're fighters, they're hungry. The energy is really good. They compete too much sometimes. They very, very competitive team, and so things will get chippy in there, which I love. We're diving on loose balls. We're fouling each other sometimes when maybe we shouldn't be, and so there's a lot of competitiveness in there, and that's been really fun to watch them just go at each other every day. And probably the best part of it is when we get in the circle at the end, they leave it all in there, and so they're not bringing it off the court. They like each other. They enjoy being around each other. They all live together. They spend a lot of time together, so that's helping with our chemistry a lot, especially like you mentioned, we have a ton of new players and new faces, and so that's been really, really helpful. But just the overall energy has been phenomenal, and the want to not care about what's happened in the past and to only care about what's going to happen this year. And so I like that about them. I can say that our kids are not they could care less what's happened at this program in the past, and I love that about them, and that's what I meant when I said we had to get the right kids here. So yeah, they're fighters. Practice has been really fun. They're fun to coach and fun to watch every day. We've had a lot of growth since we started.
So looking at the preseason poll, picked last. I know last year, watching you guys, you talk about how it's a challenge, and you're kind of taking that to heart, almost embracing that. Yeah. Is it kind of similar this year, or is it just, kind of like you said, like they're not caring about the past, they're looking to the future?
It's not, nothing about our team is similar to our team last year, so I can't really say that our mindset is very similar. Honestly, like, our team has already talked about it, our staff's already talked about it. We're not shocked that we were picked 11th. We knew we were going to be picked there, and that's okay. That ranking, in my opinion, is based off of what the program has done in the past, and nobody's familiar with our players now. Nobody's familiar with our team now. I've changed a lot as a coach. I'm doing things a lot differently now, and I have some new coaches on my staff that have brought some great things to our program. So I wouldn't say that we're just kind of indifferent about it. We knew that we were going to be picked there. We're not surprised. It doesn't really faze us. We're not worried about it one way or the other, but we're not also using it as like, we got to prove everybody wrong. We don't need to prove everybody wrong. We're going to try to prove ourselves right, and that's what we're working toward every day, and we know what we got, and we're just going to keep fighting, and it's a process, and we'll see what the polls look like at the end of the year.
So, aside from players and the players in the trees, like what can we expect different from this team as far as, you talk about this team being different from previous teams, like what should we expect to see different from this team, on the court, and just as far as who they are as a team?
Well, knock on wood, first thing, I hope we can stay healthy. So I know everybody in the country is probably saying that right now, but we had a ton of injuries last year, which really hindered us. And but this team, the first thing is that they like each other. They really, really like each other, and I think that a lot of that was taken care of in recruiting. Like I said, my staff and I did a much better job of getting kids that were going to fit in Utah State and also just fit each other better. And so that was the first part of it. But they've put a lot of effort into making sure they spend time together. We do a lot of team bonding things, and so I think the biggest thing that's different is they love basketball, they compete, and they have a chip on their shoulder, and they are going to do anything they can do to win. So that's what I feel like. There's just no quit in them. We play against our practice guys a lot. We scrimmaged them this past Friday. We were down by 14 with 4 or 5 minutes left probably, and they came back and beat them. And they're playing against guys, and so that is impressive to me. They will not quit. They keep competing. They keep believing in themselves. And if we encounter a hurdle or an obstacle, they don't shut down. They don't give up. They figure out a way to get past it and get over it and keep it moving. And so that's my biggest thing that I would say is probably different, is that their will to win is on a much higher level.
So you talk about you yourself changing as a coach. You've also got a lot of new coaches in and new assistants. How has this coaching staff evolved, from last year to this year?
Well, so I got really lucky. I got Lindsey Woolley, and he was a head coach for quite a long time at Montana Western, and he won a national championship as an NAIA head coach in 2019. And so to be able to bring that experience to myself and to our team was phenomenal. And I kind of went out and recruited him and got him to jump on board, and we were really excited to get him. I think he was a steal. I'm surprised he hasn't been at the Division I level already. I'm a big proponent of if you can coach, you can coach. And so it doesn't matter if it was at NAIA or D2 or whatever. And he can coach. And he's very different than me. His energy is like real poise. He's real calm, and I'm way up here. And so he's been really good balance for me. But I learn a lot from him every day. I think we bounce things off of each other a ton. He's brought a lot of really good ideas to the program on and off the court. And so I've been really grateful for him. And then we also hired CJ. She played for Dawn Staley at South Carolina, so one of the best in the business. And then she went and played professionally overseas, and so her energy is really high, and she's really getting after it on our defensive end, and the kids like her, and she makes sure that our energy level is high at all times. And so again, just playing for somebody like Dawn Staley and then playing professionally, that you just got a different mindset than some people. So she brings something very different to our staff that I haven't had yet, somebody that played professional basketball. And so that's been really cool to watch her. And then my coaches that are returning, just really solid. We have a really solid staff. And for me personally, just talking about doing things differently, I just think I've learned a lot. I was a first-time head coach, and I've grown a ton in the last 3 years, and have been able to kind of take things from every year. I am a big proponent of looking in the mirror. What have I done right? What have I done wrong? And I'm okay with that. I'm okay being vulnerable, saying that I've made mistakes along the way, but I'm not going to make those same mistakes again. I'm going to learn from them. And so I've been able to do that. I've had a lot of support, from our deputy AD, Jerry Bovey, and even our new athletic director, Diana Sabo, have been phenomenal. So just helping me grow and helping me feel comfortable in that head coach's seat, because I hadn't done it before, and so there's just been a lot of growth, and I'm not gonna make a list of them and what they are. I'm gonna keep that a little more private, but there's been a lot of growth there, and I'm proud of my growth. I know that our players can feel it and can see it, especially our returners, and so I think the head coach being able to admit that person has grown and that person has changed makes it a lot easier for our players to be able to look in the mirror themselves, and have that vulnerability themselves to say, okay, what can I do better today? So I think it starts from the top, and if I'm doing my job, our kids will do their job, and it'll show. The results will show in time.
So there's one more question. So looking at the non-conference schedule, seems built for a team that has some room to, I guess, need some time to gel and room to grow. I guess, what do you want to see from this team early on before you hit the Mountain West schedule?
I want to see some wins. That's the easy answer, right? I'd like to see wins, but I want to see growth. So I want to see what we look like, on November 6th when we tip off at CSUN, all the way through our last game before Christmas. I want to see growth, and I want to see consistency. I think one of our biggest problems in the past has been we're so inconsistent. And when you do that, you kind of don't know what you're going into the game with. We're going to win today, we're going to lose today. If you can be consistent, you know what you're getting every single day. And we have a little ways to go before we get there. We have several players on our team that are up and down and up and down, and so we just got to work with them to get more consistent. And if we can do that individually, then we'll be able to do that as a team. So just growth and consistency, and I think if we can do that and we get some wins under our belt, some confidence in winning, then things will look different for us, come Mountain West time. And so that's what we're hoping for.
All right, thank you so much. That's Utah State women's basketball head coach Kayla Ard. Glad to have a chat with you.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
There she is, head coach, Utah State women's basketball, trying to reshape the team, reshaping the coaching staff a little bit, and
a lot of it. Can I just
all
say
they can do is go up.
Can I just say
much
it?
lower.
I think we're in, and Jason, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well. But this is the third year she's had a new coaching staff, right? First year was Juwan Scaife, Taylor Ignoto. Second year, it was Ross James, Andre Gibbs, Mackenzie Mangino. Mangino has stayed. Gibbs went home to Penn because, his baby's there, or I guess his family's there, and he's had a newborn, and they want to move closer back to home. Ross, has a fiance back in New York. But, it's a new coaching staff, too. So not just new players, new coaching staff. Jason, I want to ask you, though, what are your expectations of Coach Ard in her third year, yet with a new team again?
It's hard to say because I don't need to see the players because that's the biggest thing, with Coach Ard is, there's maybe something as far as her being a first-time head coach. When she came to Utah State, maybe there's been some bumps and bruises. She's certainly been willing to note her shortcomings, at least say that she's had some shortcomings. It's been rough for her to get a consistent team development in players because every year. So, and this year may be some of the same because there's a lot of players who are there. A lot of them weren't as highly regarded coming out of high school. Some of them weren't even necessarily players who weren't necessarily starters at their previous team are going to come in and play big roles for Utah State. If they come together, there's some talent on this team. They can do something, but I don't know. It might be tough coming when they get to Mountain West play. One thing that I kind of expect, when you look at the non-conference schedule, they've set it up to be fairly easy, and I think this is a team that can build some confidence and get better early on. I mean, they're playing a bunch of teams. If you look at their NET at the end of last year, they're playing a bunch of teams in the high 200s and the 300s. Utah State was 340 in the NET to finish last year. So they're playing a bunch of teams that they should be able to compete against and beat. And so you may see them with a decent record heading into Mountain West play. And I don't know if that'll help the team. I think giving the team some confidence will certainly make them better. But I'm not 100% sure what to expect once they hit Mountain West play.
I mean, all I can do is sigh and hope. I mean, this is a team that's kind of bottomed out. The roster changes a lot every year. Coaching staff changes a lot every year. And I'm with you. I mean, I recognize Coach Ard is the first time being a head coach, and she's admitting she's learning what it takes to be a head coach. But at this point in her career, I mean, she should know the nuance of a full calendar year of recruiting and retaining and teaching and developing players. So all I can do is hope that it's better. I mean, it can't get much worse.
Well, and
so I hope it gets better.
I watching their practices, I feel like the chemistry is a lot better than last year. I mean, we were 5 games into last year, and I think that there are players who were even players that were getting heavy minutes that were dogging on each other. There are players that were unhappy with the amount of time they were getting compared to another player. I mean, Eric, we were at Colorado State, fourth quarter, media timeout, and she kicked a player off the team right then and there at a media timeout in the fourth quarter because the player had walked up and had mouthed off to her, and she had to kick her off. The atmosphere and the culture of that team last year was not good by any means of the stretch, in any way, shape, or form, by player-wise. Coaches, it was fine, but players-wise, it was about as bad as, honestly, as bad as you can imagine. They had a player kicked off before the season started. They had a player kicked off during the media timeout later in the year during conference play. On the road. It was just the craziest kind of scenery. So
but doesn't that
things can
reflect
change
on
that
the
this
head
year.
coach and what control she has over her team or not?
Yeah, I think there to a degree there is, but at the same time, like, I mean, some of those players were just, oh, goodness gracious, and maybe it's a mistake of bringing them into the university, right? Because I think it's, well, am I at fault here? Well, yeah, these are the players that you recruited to this university. So, yeah, to that fault, it is on Coach Ard, absolutely. Behavior standpoint, I think there was a lot of backbiting and backstabbing between players, even players that were starting on the court together. That was a major issue as well. I hope the culture and I feel like the chemistry is a lot better with this team. I hope the culture is as well, because this, as Jason mentioned so well, it's a very winnable non-conference schedule. If you can come out of that thing with a winning record in non-conference, if I'm not mistaken, Jason, would be the first time in a while that they actually did so, then you got some momentum going into conference play. Not saying you're going to win it, not saying that you're going to go to UNLV on national television and go beat UNLV, but I think you have some momentum and a little bit more confidence and chemistry going, and the culture is better going into
some
conference play.
respectability at least.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I think if you're looking for, what would success look like, you almost might look at the 2021-22 season.
That was a fun year.
Where, Yeah, they go 11-19, not the greatest record, but they go 5-13 in conference play. So I mean, coming out of non-conference play, they were 6-6.
Yeah,
I think is what the math comes out to there.
but
So, you're not winning the conference. That would absolutely floor me. But get to the double-digit wins, get as close to 500 as you can get, and I think that would show some progress for the program.
and the chemistry was better on that team too. I mean, that chemistry, Kayla Randawa, Adriana Quezada, which by the way, Eric is now at San Diego State and is eligible to play this year. Watch out for her. They had some great players, great chemistry on that team. And it showed. I mean, non-conference play, right? They go 6-6, but they lost to Southeastern Louisiana. Probably shouldn't have lost that one. But won the games they were supposed to. And then they beat that almighty Cavender Twins team twice in 7 days. Beat them at home on Senior Day, then went to the Mountain West Tournament as a 10 seed, beating Fresno State as a 7 seed. Which, by the way, there's no way Fresno State finishes above Utah State. The team has lost everybody. They're in a really bad spot right now. Amy White, I think, is on the hot seat over there at Fresno as well. By the way, she's a graduate of Utah State University. But I don't think Utah State finishes below Fresno State this year. That would be the one thing. That was the different part in my poll when I turned my ballot in.
So the thing is, almost everything you said about Fresno State is pretty much true of Utah State.
Yeah. But, I mean, even Utah State last year, we bust from Reno, Nevada to Fresno State. We bust there, got there the day before the game, and then beat Fresno State at their place. I don't know how you let that happen. I mean, and granted, Utah State shot the lights out that day. I mean, just couldn't miss. But if you're, now granted, Fresno State came here and piled us, over at the Spectrum late in the year. I think by then the Utah State team had pretty much kind of given up on each other, unfortunately. But I don't know. I don't see Fresno State. I like the culture chemistry here with this team right now. I'm not sure what Fresno State's got over there. I haven't seen them yet. But I would imagine just in my poll I had, Utah State beating Fresno State out in that 10th spot.
We do need to take a timeout. We're well overdue for a break. But Utah State women's basketball picked 11th in the women's basketball preseason poll, which was revealed today. UNLV number 1 with 24 first-place votes.
Yeah, they're good.
Colorado State also receiving a first-place vote. Wyoming getting 2 first-place votes.
Yeah, they're good.
But we just heard from Kayla Ard and trying to get a spark, trying to get her team moving in a better direction for Utah State. A timeout here in the Full Court Press. When we come back, Jason had a chance to catch up with Gloria Nevarez, the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference, and we'll hear that conversation on the other side of this timeout here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, The Fan.
Daryl's Appliance provides the best repair service. Daryl's techs are trained to pre-diagnose your repair problem before they arrive at your home, so it can be completed on their first trip. As a plus, Daryl's parts department is stocked from A to Z for you do-it-yourselfers, and Daryl's has used parts to save you money. Dishwasher baskets, bake elements, microwave trays, and more. For sales and service since 1970, it's Daryl's Appliance, west on Airport Road.
Security. It's the most precious thing you can give your home, especially if it's guaranteed. No cheap locks, no weak keys, no inadequate hardware, just the expertise and precision and security. Beezer Lock and Key believes there's no place like a safe home, and no home safer than one secured by them. It may seem they only sell locks and keys, but what they really sell is peace of mind. Search Beezer Lock and Key or go to 4th North and 1st West and just add confidence.
Prodigy Brewing is celebrating fall in the air. Kids are back in school, USU students are on campus, and weekends are for football. At Prodigy Brewing, you'll find something to satisfy everyone's tastes. Juicy burgers, sizzling wood fire pizzas, tasty salads, and a kids menu.
Alrighty, here's your cheeseburger. Enjoy.
Thank you, Cache Valley, for voting Prodigy Brewing the best bar and grill and best craft beer in northern Utah. Beer. Prodigy Brewing on Center Street in downtown Logan. Extraordinary service and family friendly.
It's cold outside, but you can keep warm inside with a quality-built, super-efficient York furnace. Count on a furnace from York because it's backed by the strongest warranties available. It's just another way we install confidence. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York dealer, at 752-7272. Online at advancedheating-ac.com. York, install confidence.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
Hello, I'm Becky Funk. Branch Operations Manager at Cache Valley Bank. I've spent 13 years in banking, and I'm ready to use my experience to help you with your accounts and financial goals. I have a great team of tellers and bankers who provide you with the personalized attention you deserve. Come visit me at our main branch or give me a call. Let me help you open an account and show you what makes us so great. We look forward to meeting you. Cache Valley Bank member, FDIC.
S.E. Needham Jewelers is where Utah gets engaged. Couples throughout the state buy their rings from S.E. Needham Jewelers because of our low prices, extensive ring selection, and extraordinary benefits and services with financing available. Go to seneedham.com to learn more. We have many unique and beautiful engagement rings starting at $500. You'll find affordable engagement rings with our integrity price guarantee. This is why we are where Utah gets engaged. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
Are you a renter looking for peace of mind and affordable insurance coverage? This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance. As an independent auto owner's insurance agency, we have access to multiple insurance carriers and will give you options. We offer renters insurance policies that can be tailored to fit your needs. From protecting your personal belongings to liability coverage, Quality First has you covered. Call us today for a free quote. Auto Owners and Quality First Insurance.
It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker, and see, have we gone through all of them?
We've gone through all of them.
Elf the Ajay. I've not used that one yet.
Great. You know what? Congratulations, 9315. I hope you're happy. Which is, by the way, a.k.a. Eric Frandsen's burner account.
You just you accumulated a good number of nicknames.
What are you doing, Jason? No, don't encourage this. Jason and I have agreed.
Why Elf the Ajay? Why not Ajay the Elf? I feel like that's a better use of that.
No, it was Elf the Ajay.
I am so grateful I got invited to the show today for Jason.
That's how it went down.
To get double teamed like this. Kill.
9315. I am happy.
Oh, I'm sure you are, Eric. Yeah. Congratulations. Hey, Jason, obviously in Las Vegas, getting ready for, I guess, had a chance to be there for Mountain West's Women's Basketball Media Day and tomorrow's Men's Basketball Media Day. I know that'll be an interesting poll to see what that looks like and some of the great competitiveness of the conference it's going to have in men's basketball. But with the new Commissioner Gloria Nevarez, I've really loved how she's attacked the conference in regards of being aggressive and saying, hey, we're going to make sure that the Mountain West Conference and all this realignment conversation, Eric, that the Mountain West Conference will stay here and that we're going to make sure that we build ourselves up.
Yeah, I think that she's done a fine job of circling the wagons. But to be honest, her job is safe because of decisions that were made a few years ago with the steep exit fees and the time windows to leave the conference.
That's an interesting point.
So if that hadn't been set before she arrived on the scene, who knows what kind of conference she'd be a part of right now.
That's a good point.
So, Jason, I know you had a chance to speak with her today. Outside of your individual interview with her, what did you observe from her or the feeling about the state of the Mountain West Conference today?
I mean, I don't know if I can say anything about the state of the Mountain West Conference outside of talking to her. Just looking at the conference as a whole, it seems like it's doing all right. Hard to glean a ton from media days in that regard. I know she was fielding a couple of different interviews with a couple of different people. I think mostly answering the same questions from a lot of different people, just being asked about expansion and all that, since that's the most pressing thing with the conference right now, because the conference seems healthy enough. I mean, you almost had everyone bolting for other conferences, namely the Pac-12, but for now everything seems solid, everything seems healthy, and we'll see where things go from here.
Well, let's the next step. Let's go from here to the interview that you held. You were able to conduct earlier today. Gloria Nevarez, the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference. She's been on the job how many months? 8 months?
About 10 months.
8.5, 9 months.
10 months. Was it first of the year, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think I think she took over. I think I looked it up. It was like January 1st. And that's one of the first things we talked about in the interview, actually, is we were talking about how long she'd been on the job. So she kind of answered that question herself. I was telling her, like, it's been almost a year, but she's like, no, 10 months. Not quite a year.
All right, well, let's get to that. Gloria Nevarez, new commissioner of the Mountain West Conference, earlier today with Jason Walker.
All right, so we've got Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Nevarez here on Full Court Press. Glad you could join me. You've been on the job nearly a year because you took over in January, right? It was January 1st. Been on the job nearly a year. Like, what have you?
10 months, right?
10 months. Okay, so 10 months. So what's these 10 months been like for you as the commissioner?
You know, it's been a lot of fun. Getting around to the campuses has been really, that's one of my favorite parts about the job. Certainly membership has been a hot topic, but looking forward to this basketball season.
So I know we'll maybe talk about expansion and membership in a second here, but I guess have you had a chance to come to Utah State? I know you were telling me just before you were with Diana Sabo, new commissioner, going to conferences and being on the board and all that. Have you had a chance to come to Utah State, or at least come maybe one of the sporting events?
Not yet, largely because I was waiting a little bit for the AD search to finish, then the president search to finish. Now, I've certainly met in person and met with both Diana and President Cantwell regularly, but I was waiting for school to start again to come out and really see Logan at its finest.
So I guess just what have you heard about Logan as far? Obviously it's the Spectrum, the MAV. Not the biggest venues, but have a bit of reputation. We're kind of proud of our reputation as far as the basketball arena and the football arena.
Yeah, and as people were, going through the president and AD search, we had a lot of questions about the school. And I tell you what, Utah State has the history, they have the facilities, and they really it's a powerful place to be. And I'm really looking forward to, I think, the pump of adrenaline they're going to get with the new leadership.
It's kind of talking about, membership, and I guess there's just the future of the conference. Like, what's the future of the conference? Because right now you have these, the power of conferences, whatever we want to call them. They seem to be consolidating. There's a lot of talk of media rights and money getting thrown around. Like, what is the future of the Mountain West trying to fit in with this, this latest round of changes in the college landscape?
Well, it certainly has been tumultuous, but I think, a couple weeks ago you saw a statement from our presidents. They really confirmed our alignment, our commitment to the Mountain West, and I think we're really well positioned in this market. We certainly have a great presence in the Western region, and really I think we've survived some of the first round. Certainly this is probably going to happen the next time media contracts come up again, but I'm feeling pretty good about where we are today.
So how much of that presence is, you talk about presence in the Western media market, how does that change? Because the Pac-12, I don't know, whatever happens with the Pac-12, Pac-2, whatever you want to call it, how does that shift with kind of, the Pac-12 situation?
Well, certainly the demise of the Pac-12, which, by the way, I personally am still very, saddened and frustrated over. I have a lot of ties and affinity for the league. But, our media rights deal comes up in 2 years, so we'll go to market next year. And certainly all the news has been about how the media market has been down a little bit, but that it's starting to recover. So I'm optimistic that when we go to market and after a couple more years of the competitive level we achieved this year, it's going to be pretty good.
So how much does there's hundreds of millions of dollars, almost billions of dollars being thrown at these, bigger conferences. Does that impact how much money, I guess, is maybe left over for teams to try and look at you? Does that impact how much money teams or companies may be willing to look, for the Mountain West?
Yeah, it certainly is. You're referring to how much is left in the coffers of the media companies to throw at certain leagues, but it's not like we're a new entity on this. We have current partnerships with CBS and Fox, and those are very good, strong relationships, and we also provide Western region windows and time zones, which is very valuable to those partners as well, and a competitive product.
So, two names looking at expansion: Oregon State, Washington State. I know you've had a chance to meet, go to those campuses. How do you feel like those visits were received as far as them maybe considering coming to the Mountain West, or, any number of combinations of them joining with the Mountain West, whatever those combinations are?
Well, if you recall, when we went out there at the time, it was before Cal and Stanford had made a decision to go to the ACC. So really the tenor of those conversations was an introduction. This is who we are. This is how we operate. give them a chance to ask and answer a lot of questions. So at the time, I felt really positive. I know those schools very well. I had a lot of friends and colleagues in the room, and certainly we continued discussions, but there's still a lot of unanswered questions that Oregon State and Washington State are working on.
So, I guess what is kind of the scope of those questions? I don't know, we don't need to go too deep into that, but what concerns do teams maybe have as far as, what concerns do the Mountain West have in terms of expansion? What do teams maybe considering the Mountain West have in terms of questions about the league?
Well, I think right now the unopened questions, and I'm not in those rooms. I mean, I know what I read, and they're working on right now who has governance control of the Pac-12, and then once they do that, how do they move forward in figuring out what happens with everything that is the Pac-12. So that's a little bit outside of my knowledge scope and my control.
So yes, for those of us who don't have experience working with these kind of things, I imagine these can take a long time. What's the timeline at this point, looking at any other changes that may happen in terms of membership?
Well, I read recently that they have a court date, I think it's November 13th, at which point they'll get a lot more intel on their direction. So I think we can expect at least several more weeks.
So I'll try and ask just one more question about expansion. But, obviously you're looking westward, Oregon State, Washington State, two obvious possibilities. Is there any thoughts of expanding eastward, or is it just kind of sticking with, everything west of Colorado, basically?
So we have, ever since I started, membership has been a constant analysis. We have a membership subcommittee through presidents, 3 ADs that meet regularly. We put them on hold a little bit during the Pac-12 implosion because that was being handled directly by our board of directors. However, we're reconstituting them recently and continuing to evaluate what number should we be at, if so, who are the prospects, and it all really kind of depends on who we have, who we can get, and what number of schools we want to be at.
So looking at the conference, let's talk about actual sports now. I guess looking at basketball, what have you seen from this conference in terms of men's, women's basketball? Just had San Diego State, go to the national championship game in the men's tournament. How do you feel like the conference can try and build off of those performances?
Well, certainly last year on the women's side, UNLV coming in at an 11 seed in the tournament, representing us really well. And on the men's side, you have one of those seasons that you just are so thankful. I mean, come on, championship. That's why you do all this. So I love the energy that everyone's bringing into this season. I think you feel it flowing over from last season, and I'm extremely optimistic about this year.
So and also, looking at football, another big sport, there's a big change on the horizon with the playoff. It was pretty exclusive before, and most Group 5 teams had just about no prayer of getting in. How much does that change with this 12-team playoff?
It changes immensely because it's 6-6. So there is a spot for that top-ranked Group of 5 conference, even if we move to 5-7, whenever that conversation happens. If we do that, it's important for the Mountain West to have access to the postseason. And right now, I think thanks to Craig Thompson and his good work before me, his legacy is that access.
So, and I guess Fred asked a question about, basketball. How do you try and build off of, what San Diego State did? Because you're getting teams into the tournament. They're kind of the only one to make a run. I think Nevada made a run a few years back. I don't know, maybe that's not necessarily your job. It's obviously the team's job. But what do you want to try and do to help teams, maybe get beyond the first round? Because you're getting 3 or 4 teams in the tournament every year, but not all of them are advancing.
Well, those early round games are hard. And what makes them, and I'm putting air quotes up, easier is a better seeding. So from our perspective, and again, you're right, I don't hire coaches, I don't recruit athletes, I don't schedule, we do our regular schedule, but you know what I mean. So from my perspective, getting 4 teams in last year is amazing. The better we can do in getting higher seeds, the better chance you have of, moving out of that first round. Those are not easy games.
Okay, so I lied about asking one more question about expansion, because there's one that my radio partner wanted me to ask, and that was about Gonzaga, because that's the name that gets thrown around. They're in West Coast Conference. Thoughts maybe they're too big for that conference, whatever those are. But, there's talk about them going to the Big 12, Mountain West. It's a name that's been bandied about as far as them maybe wanting to leave. What's that? What are they realistically a target for the Mountain West, looking to expand?
Well, when I first took over as the commissioner of the WCC a while ago, the topic of the day was the Mountain West courting Gonzaga. At that time, made some changes. They ended up staying in the league. So certainly everything they've done there and built warrants them being a candidate for everyone. And I'm just really so, it's a great testament to what they've built up there in Spokane, that they are a hot commodity on the market.
Okay, so we got a couple more questions. So who's going to win conference in football? Who's going to win it in basketball? Yeah. Have you thought about these teams?
All teams neutral right here. Take a look at the coaches poll if you want that answer.
All right, thanks so much. Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Nevarez, thank you so much for taking some time to sit with me.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it.
There it is, Commissioner.
It's a great job, Jason.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, great job. I wish you would have asked. I want to know why we can't have a semifinal game earlier than 9 o'clock at night. You're in the Mountain West men's basketball tournament.
I probably should have asked that. That's the thing is whenever I have these interviews, and this one I was trying to get really prepared for. And yeah, I'm probably going to spend the next week thinking of questions and hearing questions. Oh, I should have asked that, or I should have asked that. I did that with the Diana Sabo press conference, like for a week afterwards. Like, oh, I should have asked that, and I should have asked that. Luckily, I got a bit of a chance because she came on the radio show. I was able to ask some of those later. But yeah, I'm probably going to be thinking, oh, I should have asked it. I had a chance to sit down with the commissioner right in front of me, ask away, and it's just I tried to come with as many questions as I could. I know I asked Eric for a few. Several of those questions were Eric's, not just the one about Gonzaga.
Don't give him too much credit. No, they were your questions. It's all right. Take credit.
A good chunk of them were mine, but it's like you think, okay, I get to sit in front of the commissioner and I can ask her a bunch of things, and all of a sudden, like, your mind goes blank, and you're like, oh my gosh, what did I actually ask the commissioner about? But I thought there were a decent enough amount of questions, and I try not to pester her too much. Wanted to get answers about conference realignment, but obviously there's other aspects of the Mountain West that there are questions about.
Well, it was interesting. I think she was very political, certainly about the Gonzaga
Yeah, she knows
question.
how to answer those, doesn't
she
she?
danced around that a little bit.
Yeah.
But still interesting to hear her talk about kind of the state of the conference and what's going on in the Pac-12 and how that's developed and what the future may still hold. Because it's clear that this isn't a conference that's sitting on its laurels and just waiting to see how it gets affected. It may look like that from the outside, but it's really not. This is a conference leadership that is actively looking on the outside for opportunities. Now, we haven't seen invitations for expansion. They haven't been as active as maybe some other conferences in the public eye, but it doesn't mean that they haven't been active and been doing their due diligence. That seemed to be a real takeaway for me in that interview.
Yeah, I think they have been, proactive. We could kind of see that even before this interview. Is like they are looking at all options. The situation kind of fell into their laps. Although you did mention, it happened because San Diego State couldn't jump ship because of the exit fees, and so that certainly the Mountain West kind of saved itself a few years ago with that. And yeah, now with the whole Pac-12 situation, they are looking to take full advantage of that and become the conference of the West, not just in name, but, in actuality. And I mean, you're still going to have the teams that are in the West, but, this is the conference of the West. And that's the thing they're probably going to try and, take full advantage of, seeing if they can get Oregon State, Washington State on board, maybe somebody else, maybe Gonzaga. We'll see, but it's going to take a little bit.
All right, much more to discuss and react to. We'd love to get your reactions as well. 435-339-0321 here on the Full Court Press.
Fall is here. This is Mark at the Sportsman on Main Street. I invite you into our amazing store to see the new fall collection of amazing clothing, shoes, and outerwear for women and men. We have brands like Cool, Fiore, Fjallraven, and we have brought in some new brands from Europe that you will love. Trust me, you will look truly unique in whatever you buy from the Sportsman. Come in and let us take care of you. You'll be glad you did. For over 75 years, come and see us at the Sportsman on Main in downtown Logan with tons of parking in the back.
Do you have a backup generator, or have you explored the options of adding one to your home? Generac backup generators will keep your home or business safe and cool during the summer months if the power goes out. Do you already have a system? Golden Spike Electric can service it for you. If you don't have one, Golden Spike Electric can find the right model for your needs. Find them online at gsegenerators.com or call 435-257-3016. Golden Spike Electric and Generac, power you can count on.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, the Allergy Clinic and Hearing Aid Center are located in North Logan in the Three Peaks Medical Plaza and Providence on Gateway Drive. Doctors Benyon, Blotter, and Robinette and staff have over 75 years of combined medical experience, providing the very best patient care for ear, nose, and throat conditions. Most insurance products, including SelectMed, are accepted. Go to CacheValleyENT.com. That's CacheValleyENT.com for appointments and details. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, located in North Logan and Providence.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. I'd like to invite you to learn more about us. Since 1997, we've been Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment. What sets us apart at Alpine Home Medical is the superior level of customer service. We provide home oxygen, CPAPs, wheelchairs, scooters, breast pumps, and so much more. Come on down and get to know us.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit alpinehomemedical.com.
Are you in need of excellent surgical care? Budge Clinic General Surgery offers the future of surgery with state-of-the-art robotic-assisted procedures. From cancer treatments to surgical needs, they've got you covered. Call Budge Clinic General Surgery today, 435-716-1950, to schedule a consultation and experience the best possible outcome. Trust Doctors Anderson, Marshall, McKenna, and Peterson, the experts at Budge Clinic General Surgery, helping people live the healthiest lives possible.
Hi, this is Bob Larson with LSS Insurance. So many Medicare plan choices. Medicare annual enrollment is now through December 7th. Don't let TV ads trick you. Come see us at LSS Insurance. We will compare plans, answer your questions, and assist you in every step of the way. There's no cost to work with us, so please call 752-9493. Why not take advantage of every benefit available? Come see us or call us at 752-9493.
This is Nate Lamson with Valley Office Systems, your home team when local matters. Valley Office Systems is your local provider for all things office, copiers, printers, furniture, and document management. Proudly serving Cache Valley since 2007. Visit valleyofficesystems.com.
The Aggies, Jazz, high schools, even the Pee Wees T-ball team. It's the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, The Fan.
Napa Auto Parts, they've got diesel additives from Howes, Power Service, Schaefer's, Stanadine. Save on silicone wiper blades as well from Trico and Rain-X. I need some good wiper blades with all the rain we've been having. So go check it out. Napa Auto Parts, ready to help at your 5 locally owned Preston to Providence locations. So, Utah State women's basketball picked 11th. In the preseason poll, which was revealed today. And Utah State men's basketball, we'll find out where they are picked tomorrow.
Can I ask you your prediction on that, you and Jason? Where do you have Utah State men's basketball in that poll?
My guess is that there's so much uncertainty about new coach and so many new players that they're not going to get a lot of love.
I would agree.
So I'd probably say 7 or 8.
I was going to say 8th.
Yeah. And Jason, I think if I remember correctly, that's kind of where you pegged him when we talked yesterday.
I think I had him at 6th in the poll that I submitted, either 6th or 7th. I can't remember. I don't have it in front of my face. I think 7th is where they'll probably end up. Maybe 8th, but I would say most likely 7th.
A couple of texts coming through. 9315 says...
Eric says...
The best USU iPod janitor on the show.
Thank you, Eric.
And 7994, roast Ajay Day again?
No. I did not lose pick 6, so I cannot get roasted. It is anti-roast. It is complimentary Ajay Day.
By the way, a few texts came through.
Ajay actually beat me in pick 6.
Oh, well, yeah. There we go. You're welcome,
A rare
America.
occurrence. We had a couple of texts come through yesterday that we weren't able to read on the air. It was pre-produced. But 7994 yesterday said, based on Jason's method of scoring the defense, If the defense performs at a C level, will this team win the remaining games? If not, what do they need to do to win? And then we got another text that came through yesterday, 5879, saying, by the way, ESPN's – oh, sorry, a couple other texts before that. Some of these were answered. Seems like the key to beating the USU offense is to stop the first down by staying home and stopping our short game. Seems like we should take the top off and let Coop throw 2 bombs on the first 2 downs. And then, by the way, ESPN's FPI now has us only losing to Boise and Fresno, finishing the season at 7-5.
I still think we beat Boise. They're not good. And I think San Jose State continued to show more holes and weaknesses in that team. And we get them at our place, too, which is what I like.
6543. Oh, go ahead, Jason.
I was saying on that first text, talking about if the defense plays at a C level, the C grade, they would win a lot more of their games. Because an average defense and, an offense that, if they kind of get their stuff together in the first quarter, this is an offense that's averaging 35-plus points per game, they probably would win a lot of the rest of their games.
Yeah.
6543 texting in saying, what are the reasons that Gonzaga would choose the Mountain West Conference over the Big 12? I mean, all things equal, the Big 12 would be the better conference.
By far, not even close. TV revenue deal in the future is going to be massive over there.
Better competition every week.
Oh, much better competition.
Bigger arenas.
Yeah.
But it may just come down to if the Mountain West gives them a sweetheart deal where they can retain
and gives them that little bit of that Boise
revenue.
State financial love,
yeah,
then I think Gonzaga would definitely think about it here.
1678. Oh, we don't have time. We'll talk about it next hour.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. When you look at the most successful teams in professional sports, they generally have one thing in common, an ownership group that knows their place. As an owner, you're entitled to do whatever you see fit with your franchise, but owners aren't talent evaluators, and when they try to become one, disaster often follows. It's still early. We can only speculate at this point, but that may be the case with Carolina. Prior to the draft, it was reported the Panthers were enamored with the potential of Ohio State QB C.J. Stroud. But it was also rumored that the owner, David Tepper, had sights set on the Heisman winner, Bryce Young. Carolina went on to take Young #1 overall. We can't be certain how much Tepper had to say in this selection, but if the 2 rookie quarterbacks continue their progress the way they have through the first 5 games of the season, the Carolina Panthers owner's involvement in personnel decisions could be a pretty costly one for Carolina. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.